Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Daredevil Epic Collection. This is Watch Out for Bullseye, and you can see all the different there. And this is an Epic Collection, Volume 6. Now, I've got all the other volumes here. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. All excellent. Some other ones there as well. The thing is, there is an omnibus coming out, Volume 2, I believe. The Volume 1 I haven't got, so I'm just going to generally continue to buy these epics. So this is Volume 6, and you can see it's got a variety of different stories. Sharna She-Devil, Black Widow, Black Spectre, Gladiator, Owl, obviously some of the older villains of Daredevil, Death Stalker. You've also got Bullseye as well, obviously turned up. Now Bullseye turns up a lot later on, but this is obviously the stories after this. Volume 6, 1974 to 1976, and you can see the ISBN number there. You can see the stories, 108 to 132, Marvel 2-in-1, issue 3. It's in colour all the way through, other than obviously the bonus material at the back. And, well, they're really decent stories. I mean, I enjoyed the stories. I remember buying them at the time. Absolutely fine, but I must admit a little bit more critical of some of the art, because there's quite a lot of, like, Gene Colan, brilliant artist, but he's inked by different people, and quite often when you see the changes in the inking, something I wasn't particularly appreciating when I was younger, but you can really notice it now. When I look at it, I think, oh crumbs, that is very different, just doesn't look as good sometimes. And you can see there. Now, of course, if you just ignore that and just look at the layout, look at the thing, and obviously the story, that's the key thing. But the first story here was the Beetle, not the Beatles, but the Beetle. Of course, Human Torch and Spider-Man, now obviously clearly Daredevil as well. He's running through the thing. Who knows, maybe against Thor probably later or someone else. I don't think that would have been very good for him. But Cry Beetle. Now, poor old Black Widow, she's still got a picture there of Black Widow, but she's just become co-starring the deadly Black Widow. She's sort of gone off that. Don't know why they just didn't continue to have that on. I think probably in the previous one, she was still there. However, let's just go. We've got the Beetle there again. This one's the Black Spectre. And you've got Don Heck and then Bob Brown as the artist. There's many of them in this Gene Colan, but some of them are inked by Vince Coletti, and you can really tell the difference. Sharna the She-Devil turns up. Now, I did have the Kazar ones for that, or Mockingbird. I can't remember which. One of the volumes, and it got the Sharna the She-Devil stories, the earlier ones before this. They didn't include those, which is quite odd. I would have thought they would include the storyline that was for that beforehand, but they didn't. They included this, though, The Thing and Daredevil. Inside Black Spectre. Sal Buscema and Joe Sinnott. Then on to the next one. This one is a Gene Colan, and again, actually fine art. Now, I must admit the cover's a bit odd, a bit confusing. I thought when I first saw that, I thought that was Whirlwind, but it's not. Could have been Whirlwind. But it says The Master. Daredevil must die tonight. Good story. It's the Necra story, which continues on later. Absolutely fine. And also Mandrill, the Mandrill storyline. Again, Sharna, all the way through to the Sharna story. Again, Necra, next one. And let's just get to the next. And then Bob Brown and Vince Coletti. And this is the Gladiator. When strikes the Gladiator? I wonder why they went for that approach. The massive, he dwells in eternal night. There's quite a bit of, it seems odd. Did they include that in the previous one? No. Didn't do that previous one. Then they suddenly include this massive sort of, I don't know what you would call it, subtitle at the top or something. It's just very strange. Did they include that? Oh, yeah. They've got it in blue this time. Dwells in. I wonder why they went for that. Did they continue that on for a long? Yes, they did. How strange. You know what? I've never noticed that. Strange when you just completely ignore that. I don't even. Why did they put that? Armed with his. I suppose they had people obviously come into this comic and they didn't know who Daredevil was, so they have to put a blurb about that. Very strange. But you've got the Gladiator. And then, always find the Gladiator's an odd character. Sometimes hero, sometimes villain. It's a mixed character. And you've got the Death Stalker turns up, as well as the Man-Thing. Everyone turns up in this one. Great cover there. You've got the Man-Thing stalks the swamp. And again, now you've got Bob Brown and Vince Coletti again. And the artwork's a bit odd. I have to say, a bit odd. But that's even more noticeable when, let's just get to the Death Stalker. Next one. Yes, Gene Colan. One of my favourite artists. I love Gene Colan's work. But this slight, it's, fine. It's got the owl, good old owl. I think it was issue 3. Daredevil, certainly very, very, and you can see it's Gene Colan. You can see the artwork there. Obviously, Gene Colan But at the same time, the inking is just a bit odd. It's just a bit rough, and it sort of loses it, especially now. It's been just not. I think there's certainly some that are really very rough. I mean, there's like this. You've got here the owl. The owl's looking very weird there. The computer. The witch is destroying my computer. And you've got Shana still. And she still. Did she get a guest star in the front cover? She might have had a guest starring. No, she's not on the guest starring on there. So where you still got Black Widow still on the cover. But you got here the Mind Tap, whatever the Mind Tap, the Spellbinder we call the Mind Tap. Oh, good old my favourites, the Ringmaster and his Circus of Crime. If you want to guarantee a character that's going to lose all the time, and I don't know why he bothers, because he knows that Daredevil is not going to. And there's there the Black Wing and the Circus of Crime. It's no longer the Ringmaster. There's old Ringmaster there, and of course there's people stealing stuff as ever. Daredevil coming along. But of course, it's the usual sort of thing. You got the Ringmaster hypnotises everyone that's watching his broadcast, which would be fine. Obviously, but not everyone's going to watch the broadcast. That's sort of flawed, isn't it? You might be listening on the radio. You'd be thinking, hang on, this guy is sort of saying, bring me all your money, sort of thing. And you're thinking, I think the police might be, what's the name? Not ever, they'd be in a car, wouldn't they? They'd be going around and suddenly they're hearing reports of people. I think this is a very flawed plan by the Ringmaster if he thinks that's a good one. But still, did the Ringmaster ever think anything through? I love this one, the Crusher. Now, the Crusher was Iron Man villain one time in Rules, but actually done well. This is quite a good little story. They're tearing down Fogwell's gym. Good old Fogwell's gym. Foggy Nelson there as well in the story. And El Jaguar. Very dramatic cover. They're Hydra New Year. Season's greeting, Hornhead and a Hydra New Year. Though I must admit, it doesn't feel particularly a Christmas issue. I suppose there's a bit of Christmas. Oh, there's a little bit of Christmas. Yeah, there's a bit of snow. There's snow. And there's sort of the usual sort of there. And a Christmas tree. So, yes, it's a Christmas story. Maybe they should include that in any sort of Treasury edition that they do, sort of a Christmas issue. I love Christmas ones. And you got Hydra again. You got here. And again, Black Widow's still in the story. Danger is the Dreadnought. So he's facing quite a, obviously powerful. The Marvel Mighty Renaissance moves ahead. And Hydra. It's a pretty awkward villain. Now, the thing is, again, the artwork here, because it just doesn't always work. You still got here, you've got El Jaguar and you've got Blackwing again. And you've got some really weird villains in this period. There were some good ones, and then there's some really weird ones. Silvermane. Oh, Silvermane. I forgot about Silvermane. And Mankiller. Oh my God, that's the Marvel team-up one. Well, yes. With the Spider-Man and the cat. She should have learned a lesson on that one. I don't know why. No, but Mankiller's come back again. And Silvermane. I've completely forgotten about that storyline because he tries to obviously become younger again. But he's obviously this time of the Hydra. Good old Hydra. And Copperhead. They were just a weird selection. I don't know what was happening at this time with these stories. They were just introducing characters, which is good, of course. You don't want all the same characters always turning up. And that's one thing in many ways. Daredevil, for maybe now, not so much so, because obviously like the Kingpin, I don't know if the Kingpin's still turning up all the time against Daredevil. But sometimes I always find that a lot of these comics end up, you had like Dr. Octopus, you had like Spider-Man versus Doc Ock, Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom, and so on. You have Thor versus Loki, X-Men versus Magneto. Certain ones just keep coming back. Daredevil didn't really have that. I mean, there was a lot of like a mix of stories. So there was like Copperhead, who may or may not work. You got Vengeance is the Copperhead. Maybe not one, bit of an odd character, but still. There is a twist at the end, of course. And this one's Bob Brown, and this one's Klaus Janson and John Costana. Oh, there's not Vince Coletta at this point, so he's gone. Torpedo, another sort of oddball character. Flight of the Torpedo. Busting loose. You stood in my path, and now you'll have to pay. There's always those dramatic. They did a lot of these covers. Of course, these covers with all the blurbs all over them. And actually, Daredevil really does go. What's the name? A lot of those sort of covers. It's quite strange, actually. Just not always, but no. Saying that, you got that Daredevil one. Doesn't have any word balloons over it. What about the next one? Let's have a quick look. You killed that man, Torpedo, now you're going to pay. Oh, no, doesn't have a word balloon on this one. Oh, they obviously got the labels all stuck over. Action as you like it, mighty Marvel manner. That's a pretty good one. And you got also Heather. Heather turns up. Daredevil goes, you got obviously Black Widow, you got Heather. Oh, another thing I've just noticed, which I hadn't noticed before, that suddenly, there's Deathstalker again, and that's quite a good and interesting character. Of course, Deathstalker turns up, I think, later, but Black Widow's changed. Where's Black Widow? She'd gone off that storyline, I think, suddenly, mysteriously, that's it. Oh no, she's still on it there at 124, and no, 125, she's gone, that's it. They've decided Black Widow is not going to be on there anymore, and that's that. And you got Daredevil, the Man-Bull. Now that was really, truly some very unusual artwork in that one. Man-Bull story. Now, quite often Man-Bull stories always do seem to be like that. But this one, Man-Bull in Chinatown. And it's Bob Brown, Klaus Janson again, or Jansen, I don't know how you say it, and Michelle Wolfman. But the artwork is very odd. There's some very strong, I mean, look at that. That Man-Bull, he sort of varies in the way he looks. Man-Bull, he's sort of massive sometimes. Sometimes he's huge, a bit like the Hulk, where sometimes you have sort of scenes where he sort of matches against certain characters, and then sometimes he seems to be a lot bigger. And there's a few scenes that you've got, like here, he looks massive. I suppose he's maybe closer, but it does seem that he does vary in size quite a lot. Now, this is quite a good one. Daredevil and Deathman. There's quite a few of those stories as well. You had there, yeah. That's most odd, isn't it? The way you've got the Deathstalker, and also you've got Deathman theme running through this. But what a dramatic cover that is! Got there, and from darkness, death. And oh, look at that. That's what you call a villain. There. He must be stopped. Of course, there's a twist in the storyline, as always with this. And then we finally get to the title, the character in the title, though again the cover doesn't match it. We've got Deathstalker there, but you've got Watch Out for Bullseye. Why didn't they use that as the cover? Bullseye never misses. What a great cover that was. I killed that creep just like I'm going to kill you. Was that the first appearance of Bullseye? Might have been. I don't know. Was Bullseye ever in any previous work? I honestly can't say. Maybe wasn't. Strange. But then you got Bullseye there again. And again, another different artist. Oh no, that's strange. I wonder who the inker was. Was Klaus doing the inking? Oh, another story there. Obviously circuses as well coming in there. Obviously not the circus of crime this time. Very unusual. But still, a real mixed bag of stories, I think, in this one. Some good ones. Some stories that might grow on me again. I mean, at the time, I really enjoyed them. Rereading this, I'm not so certain that some of the stories, like the Crusher one, that I really was so convinced, or Torpedo, that they're sort of like, and the Copperhead one as well. But there were some decent stories. So let's just go and see what's for extras. And the extras are actually genuinely very good. And again, they've gone for Foom. Foom. Why they haven't brought out an omnibus edition? I've noticed recently, I've had quite a lot of these epic collections, and they always seem to rely heavily on Fooms. They obviously clearly are going through these and noticing that it's a good source of material. And you got here Daredevil, but first a word from our sponsor. And you got obviously there all the lovely model sheets, etc. You got obviously there Matt Murdock, Bollywood's original character sketches for Daredevil. That's very useful. Again, that is the one thing that always surprised me, like with Man-Bull. Well, I'm saying about the sizing. Man-Bull seems to go up and down in size. Maybe it's just the angle, but it just seems very odd. You've got, of course, like I say, Heather there, Heather Glenn, and also Karen Page, of course, and Black Widow. So you've got the women in Daredevil's life. I'm surprised they didn't have Shana as well. Could have had her. Also, I love the fact they've got also original Page as well, one they obviously didn't use at any point. Vengeance is Copperhead. Obviously, that was around that time. Lovely Christmassy one there. And Basima's bullpen, which is very nice. And, of course, Stanley there. And also they include a checklist, the Daredevil checklist, so you can go through it, which I really like because it's really nice to see sometimes information that I didn't know. So, like Origin of Daredevil, I mean, Stanley, Bill Everett, of course, brilliant. Absolutely one of the greatest. But Bill Everett for the next one, for the Inca. Now, I don't know if that was included. I can't remember. without looking at the issue. Sometimes they didn't include the Inca's name. You got Evil Menace of Electro in the second issue, and Vince Coletta was again Vince Coletta for the third. Vince Coletta, that's probably why it was there was a bit of roughness in that. Then, of course, Wally Wood. I mean, Wally Wood, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 absolutely classic ones with Wally Wood. Though I'd never realised that Time to Unmask, number 11, Wally Wood, the Inca, according to this anyway. People obviously probably disagree and say, oh, no, was that right? I don't know. But it does have all the titles, which is just great. You've got obviously the date there. Now, how many pages? And you can see the page number as well. First issue, Origin of Daredevil, 23 pages. Then it was 22, 10, 22, 22, 20, 20, all the way through. Quite a long time, it was 20. Then around about 1970, it became 19. Then around 1970, 19, 19, 19, 21, I went up to 21. That was in 71. Then it bounced around 20, 21, 20, 19, 19, 18, 17. So by 1976, it was down to 17 pages. And you've also got the annual Electro and the, I can never say that word, the whatever. It's a weird word. I'm not even going to say it. And also you got some lovely other extras. Actually, the extras are really good. And I love the fact they included these adverts. I think this is always just a great thing. I wish they'd put more. There must be more adverts. Surely Daredevil must have. In fact, I've got one on the wall. Just got a page I ripped out, and that's a Daredevil advert. So they could include more of those, I'm quite certain. But I wish they'd bring out the Foom ones in the full omnibus. This is a really nice little collection. But again, some hit and miss stories, some really decent ones, some good artwork, and some pretty rough artwork in places, personally. But otherwise, reasonably quality book of Daredevil. I am really, of course, looking forward to probably, I assume, probably not going to be in volume 7, maybe volume 8, of course, will be all the Frank Miller one work. Looking forward to that. So I assume that'll be out at some point, hopefully. They seem to be going in order at the moment, so hopefully volume 7 won't be too far off. And then volume 8. Can't remember reading much of the material around volume 7. I might have done. I don't remember. I remember mostly this material. So, Daredevil, this is volume 6. Watch out for Bullseye.